Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Once again, thank you for taking the time to join us for today. To kick off this webinar, I am delighted to introduce our speakers for today, both known as messaging experts in the field. So first off, we have Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder of Convrs, Enis Mehmet. And next, we have the founder and managing director of 360dialog, Gerrit. So along the webinar, feel free to send in the questions through the Q&A button below, and Enes and Garrett will try their best to have them answered as we go along. Enjoy. Take it away, Enes.
We've got a truly international audience today, so thank you for everyone for taking the time to attend. So today I'll have Janella driving the PowerPoint for me, and I'll basically kind of go over what we've been doing at Converse with 360, how we've been working with our customers in terms of enabling them to leverage WhatsApp, and really kind of seeing kind of what the future of 24 looks like in the world of WhatsApp. I'm sure if you guys are watching and reading kind of tech news, you'll know that Meta is really doubling down into what WhatsApp is now doing. So I think this year is going to be very interesting for the space in terms of conversational marketing. So we do want to start off. There is a poll question, if you can see it. Really, I'd like to try and see how many people of the attendees here, how many of your companies are actually utilizing the business API from WhatsApp. Now, there is at times confusion. What is the WhatsApp business platform? Okay, well, the platform is actually the rebranded API, the enterprise solution that WhatsApp has. This is very, very different to the WhatsApp business app that you could download onto a device from the iOS store or the Google Play Store. So we just want to find out how many people are actually using the enterprise API solution. I think because that will help us in terms of context of answering questions later on. So with that being said, today's presentation is really going to start looking at marketing and marketeers. How can they start leveraging what WhatsApp has, i.e. 2.7 billion active users? How can marketeers start really leveraging this huge opportunity in terms of their marketing activity? So these stats, I'm sure most of you have seen some of the stats, if not all of them. 2.7 billion active users globally, the #1 messaging app globally. This is really where it becomes interesting. Around a 98% open rate. I know everyone's open rates will be slightly different. For myself, I open all of my WhatsApp messages. I may not do so with Telegram, but with WhatsApp, because I'm speaking to friends and family and a select number of businesses, I personally have 100% open rate. And then we look at conversion rates that could basically be also seen as click-through rates. What we're seeing is, on an average, you're looking at between a 45 to 60% open rate, should I say conversion rate, click-through rate. If we compare these statistics now to traditional forms of engagement, like email, like kind of phone calls and so forth, we know it's far, far superior. So this is really where we see the opportunity now for businesses to go beyond customer service and sales in a conversational kind of channel, but now to start looking at conversational marketing. If we quickly look at the timeline of WhatsApp, because things have moved relatively quickly in the past few years. WhatsApp as a solution was launched in 2009. Okay, so 2018 they launched their initial business API. 2021, you were really seeing large enterprises using this enterprise solution, okay, the API. That would have been the likes of British Gas, airlines, utility providers, and so forth. In 22, we started to see that businesses in all different industries and of different sizes were now being allowed to kind of access the full capability of the API. In 23, I personally see this as being kind of like one of the big changes of what we saw. WhatsApp was probably around 2 billion active monthly users, but prior to 23, really the template messages you could send were really down to authentication, utility, kind of order tracking, and so forth. In 23, however, the categorizations of these templates changed. They went from about 9 down to 3. the main one became the template category of marketing and sales. So I think this is really when WhatsApp kind of changed their attitude. And it's really kind of aligned with when Mark Zuckerberg said that they were going to have a year of efficiency. And what you really kind of saw was the talk of the metaverse kind of stopped. You weren't really hearing Mark Zuckerberg talk about that, but you started hearing the kind of the terminology of like a year of efficiency, and they started doubling down into platforms where they had those user bases, and one of them was WhatsApp. Okay, so this is why I think 23 was a big year for WhatsApp. 24 now, Meta with kind of in line with kind of working with 360dialog, struggling to get my words out there. They've basically approached 360dialog and they've asked them to try and help Meta start to provide tracking. How could marketeers start actually putting ad dollars into journeys that would actually enable them to track cost per lead, cost per impression, cost per acquisition, and so forth? So this was a really big move in terms of where WhatsApp was moving into being an agnostic channel of industry, but looking at a variety of different use cases. Like last year, we also saw them launching in-app payments in Brazil and India. So we're really excited to see where 24 takes us. Really looking forward to seeing what Gerrit's going to show us at the second part of the webinar when we start looking at tracking. But to start with, we do have a lot of our existing customers and other prospective parties that we're speaking to. So some of you guys may be already kind of utilizing some of this functionality. Other of our customers, you may be kind of considering it or we're in discussions. But this is now going to give you a few examples as to how a client with Convrs using the 360dialog connectivity to Meta, how are they utilizing WhatsApp at different parts of their kind of client journeys? So we're going to look at kind of the marketing and sales. So the first thing that I find really interesting is that we have the ability now to start signing up end users of our customers for a variety of different purposes. Now, they could be what we're doing is we're really kind of moving people away from forms. I've been in the FX space for 20 or so years. When I started, we were using a form and then we were trying to email people and trying to call people. Those kind of days are over. You now have the ability to data capture within a conversational flow within the likes of WhatsApp and other messaging apps, and then basically write to any kind of system, whether it's an MT5, Salesforce, internal database or systems. So you have that ability to data capture and then write to those systems. If we look at the stats, when they've basically Meta have been doing kind of a lot of their kind of discovery and investigation and kind of research, they've found about 61% of consumers will find messaging the easiest and most convenient way to contact a business. So with that kind of statistic in mind, it only made sense that brokers and businesses started saying, why do we not start our customer journey in these channels? Why can we not allow someone to sign up from our website, basically launch a flow from an ad, a QR code? It could be an in-person expo that you could be. Why not start driving traffic and engagement immediately into a channel like WhatsApp where they're speaking to friends and family? So some of these examples will be, we could sit there and say, right, you may want to sit there and give someone the ability, if your business is set up to say, right, our customer journey is really coming down the demo sign-up process. Maybe your clients on the whole prefer and feel more comfortable to sign up for a demo account, play with it, test it out for a week or so, and then progress to a live account. Other businesses will say, Enis, Convrs, what we're doing is we're setting up accounts directly within a secure client area. Once someone has an account with us, a generic account, from there they can look at making that a demo or live. We can now start doing this kind of sign-up process directly within a flow within the likes of a WhatsApp channel or Messenger, for example. The benefit of doing so is that we can handle the privacy policies. We have very strict flows in which we can data capture and say, do you agree to the privacy policy? And then start saying, can we get your email address? Can we have your name? And so forth. So really the flow can data capture anything that a business may want to ask, But we're also very forthright and telling our customers that you don't need to specifically do the entire flow within a messaging channel. It may be that you find that your existing sign-up processes have very large black holes and drop-off rates right at the start of the funnel. Well, in that scenario, you could say, right, why don't we engage someone within WhatsApp at the start of the funnel, capture that data, and the benefit is really, as soon as someone clicks that WhatsApp button, they're not having to give you a telephone number. By basically proactively electing to start speaking to you within that channel, they've opened up communication. So whether or not they complete the entire flow, whether they stop midway through, you are now connected with that person in WhatsApp. So this really shows us an opportunity there that we can start to enhance processes. We can start automating lead capture. We can lessen that drop-off rate. But we can also sit there and enable onboarding teams, sales teams to continue a conversation directly in the channel within which the person was signing up for an account of some sort, a webinar, whatever it may be. So that's our first kind of use case that we've looked at. The second use case, again, we've got a lot of brokers that are really utilizing this now, is WhatsApp campaigns that you would otherwise refer to as bulk messaging. Now, the difference here is this is not bulk messaging from a device. This is bulk messaging on a scalable fashion using the API, the official Meta WhatsApp API. The benefit of this is that you may start with the ability to message 1,000 people or have 1,000 conversations in a 24-hour period on day one. We actually have a lot of our clients have a limitation of 100,000 conversations with 100,000 unique individuals within a 24-hour window. I think kind of the tops that we've seen so far is probably around 20,000 conversations initiated in a 24-hour window. And a lot of the times now, this is going to be through a proactive WhatsApp campaign, okay? The benefit of doing this is the fact of you don't need the end user, the potential customer of your particular brokerage to have messaged you first. You could have data captured on a form or any other part of your client journey, data captured a telephone number, a country code, and a telephone number. You can then bulk upload that into the Convrs solution, and from there you can determine what kind of message you want to bulk send to these individuals. They could be personalized or they could be quite generic. The kind of the use cases that I always talk about with our clients are from my days working in the FX industry would be that we generally would see the fact of at the start of the month, the sales team would be chasing applications that came in, trying to get supporting documents and really kind of seeing, right, could we get them to a point of funding? By week 3, we'd really be focusing on how many applications have we received where compliance was unable to automatically approve them, and they may needed to have sat there and sent over a supporting document of some shape or form. Okay, so we find that's kind of like those two scenarios we find, as well as when the accounts are ready to fund. So the two kind of scenarios you may have is that a sales manager may turn around before there's any deep integration and say, we're already using Convrs for one-on-one engagement with the sales team and our customers. But we may also say, right, at this point, we know that we have 300 accounts that are ready to potentially fund once they complete KYC. So maybe midway through the month, a sales manager could bulk upload all those numbers of prospects that are near ready for funding and send them a bulk message in WhatsApp, either personalized or not, to basically say, this is ABC Broker, just a quick heads up to say that your account is nearly approved by compliance, but they do require a little bit more information. The following week, a sales manager may say, okay, we've now got 1,000 accounts that are ready to fund. As opposed to having sales agents one by one emailing and calling, trying to get through to prospects if they have these kind of end of month quotas to say, hey, your account's ready to fund. Can we send you the funding link? Can you check your email? It may have gone to the spam folder or the junk folder. You now have the ability to bulk send a message at any point in time to all your prospective customers that are ready to fund an account in a matter of minutes. Okay, so you have those. The final thing that we're looking at we're now basically looking at with a couple of the leading kind of vendors out there, like the Trade Acuity, for example, to start sending market content, market updates, news, analysis, kind of trade ideas, commentary using WhatsApp. The issue with this is a matter of really determining who you want to kind of send this to. It may not be the kind of content you would send to everyone in a database, but could it be to those that are ready to fund, that have accounts approved? Could it be for those that have VIP access? And the benefit of sending these WhatsApp messages is that you can have links, you can have rich media. We have clients that are sending videos, okay, short form videos within a WhatsApp template to 1,000, 2,000 people at a time, if not greater. So there's a lot of kind of interesting use cases for the bulk messaging, and we're seeing a lot of this in action now on a daily basis with our clients, okay? So the final summary of that is you can expand your reach, you can boost your efficiency of messaging, and you can really scale that one-to-one conversation en masse, okay? Now, the final area that we want to look at is we're seeing a lot of inquiries, and we're launching this for a number of customers, a number of already using them now. And it seems like the logical progression of where messaging in a customer journey could go to and should go to. And this is automated messaging. So if we start looking at journeys, we often find that they're becoming ever more so costly. The cost per acquisition is really going one way for most brokers around the world. It's going up. So by utilizing the likes of WhatsApp with this 90 plus open rate, this 40% plus click-through rate, you can actually start automating that messaging. So there's a couple of scenarios there that we could look at. We could basically, we being Convrs, we could have some form of integration with a broker. Maybe that's in MT4, MT5. Maybe that's in a back office, a CRM, a client area. It does differ for every broker. There's no right or wrong way of doing so. But we could have a trigger that would basically trigger on a daily basis, whether in real time, whether at a certain point in time, to basically say that an account is ready for funding. So by doing so, there could be an account creation. So it could be the fact of during the account creation process, maybe someone's dropped off. You can then send a WhatsApp message and saying, hey, you were basically midway through doing the application process. Please click on this link to get back into the application process. Then the second one I was just mentioning initially was an account is ready to fund. We could basically receive a trigger in any kind of from any system using an API into our generic API itself. We could be notified of the person's name, their telephone number, which will send the WhatsApp message on, whichever the trigger message may be. So it could be the account is created, there's a drop off, or the account's ready to fund. And then we can basically say, right, we're going to send a message in English on behalf of this particular entity of the broker to that particular customer. But what you're doing is you're leveraging those high open rates, you're leveraging the use case, but now with a little bit of integration, you're no longer reliant on sales teams and onboarding teams to do this manually. We can start to automate this. And we're seeing a lot more customers really progressing to this, where they could have come to us to say, right, we need a sales solution for our sales agents that need to be GDPR. Then customer service will gradually start using Convrs and onboarding. And then we start saying, right, well, part of that, why don't we start automating stuff? So this is really what we've seen in the past 18 months in terms of use cases for WhatsApp using Convrs. Part of this is going to kind of fall upon the marketing activities, sales, onboarding, and even kind of retention. How do you get a customer that may have stopped trading 15 days ago? How do you re-engage them? We can also use this in terms of automated messaging. So with that said, I believe I'm at the end of my part of the presentation. So what we've looked at are signups to boost lead generation. Then we've looked at campaigns and bulk messaging to look at reach and engagement. And then we've looked at automated messaging. What I was very excited to hear was when 360dialog approached us and said, Enis, we're now looking at tracking, because this always had been the missing part of that picture. We had this really kind of powerful feature, this powerful channel, but it was kind of lacking a key component, which was tracking. So with that said and done, I'm really excited to kind of hear what Gerrit has to say and what he has to show us. And I'd like to pass over to the founder and managing director, 360dialog, Gerrit.
Thank you very much, Enis. I'm just making full screen, and I hope everyone can see it. Yeah, I guess everyone already has quite some appetite on WhatsApp, and then in specific WhatsApp performance marketing. And yeah, I just wanted to add before I jump into my actual presentation with a little bit more candy on top, and sharing some numbers on from our client base. So we're serving globally approximately 43,000 clients on the WhatsApp Business API. Key markets are Brazil, India, and EMEA, especially Middle East, is growing pretty fast for us. So I felt like I kickstart my presentation with a couple of numbers, and especially looking at the fact that WhatsApp is not just a service channel anymore, as it has been perceived over the last couple of years. So WhatsApp is actually, yeah, pretty much your Swiss knife. Yeah, when we look at a full journey experience or customer journey experience, and so just looking at, so for instance, user acquisition cost on the lead side of things. So across the board, we see 30 to 60% lower cost per lead. Yeah, when actually clients start driving. Specifically click to WhatsApp users into WhatsApp, and then this is compared to other digital advertising formats. When we look more into the consideration engagement side of things, we just see how tremendously WhatsApp is outperforming these classical channels like SMS, email. When we look at push notification, we rather look at even 80+% higher conversion rates. The most impressive value I'm always very happy to share is when we look at the actual revenue data, and in specific, when we look at performance marketing, the ROAS is one of the key KPIs, and so we are actually looking at the moment at something like 2 to 4x. Sounds crazy, but this is what we actually experience. And what I also like to share is, and this is one of the reasons why we decided to jump into the data topic on WhatsApp, is it's completely unoptimized. Yeah, so we are still not looking in like dynamic A/B testing and creative optimization and so on. So it's very much basic setting up something and then looking at the results. So that hopefully gives some appetite on what to expect over the next couple of years, looking at WhatsApp as a performance marketing channel. So one thing that was really driving us in terms of going into the data side of things is, as said earlier, WhatsApp today is a full customer journey experience, but the data we see in WhatsApp is wild. It's completely unstructured. Yeah. So when we look across the journey from discovery to re-engage, I just wanted to kind of highlight how many data formats and how unstructured the data actually is. So we have something like an ad, which is completely some sort of disconnected from the actual WhatsApp experience. So you need to handle the attribution side of things. And then you see how many different formats you have. You have button clicks, you have text, you have videos, and so on and so on. And just this example on the very last screen shows you how much context is actually happening within a WhatsApp message. Yeah? And so if you really want to make use of this, you have to decode it. Yeah? So you have to extract actual parts of a sentence, parts of a message to make your CRM, for instance, work based on WhatsApp data. So in this specific case, we're looking at, so this user is a pro trader. Yeah, so this needs to be extracted. So then this user is eligible for like 3 times the rewards. This needs to be extracted. So if you're just taking this sentence and actually bringing that into your CRM, you most probably get an error code. Yeah, if you're just actually bringing that into your CRM. So just a quick overview, how we also actually collaborate with Convrs is that our platform is actually decoding the whole messaging thread. Yeah? So we actually put that into data sets, and then we also look at specific use cases, whether it's the attribution tracking, whether it's the lead gen or the lead tracking. We do the purchase tracking down to actually ROAS. And if you go for marketing messages for re-engagement or things like cart abandon, etc. So our platform is actually decoding this into a data syntax that is applicable to any type of digital system. But what's really important for us, and this is also based on our very close collaboration with Meta, we support all the marketing messages, all the marketing APIs at Meta. So whether it's conversion API that you can use for have a holistic tracking view, or actually optimizing your advertising spends, whether it's the marketing API, you want to build custom audiences, you want to build lookalikes based on WhatsApp data, or a little bit further down the road, the ads optimization side of things, whether it's from the ads, from the audience side of things, or from the creative side of things, is also something that is actually connected to our platform. And we make sure that the data from WhatsApp, which WhatsApp Meta can't read because the channel is encrypted, and B, the data format, so that actually Meta APIs understand this. This is all done by us. And on top of this, we also provide, of course, measurement and analytics dashboards for an instant view on performance. So what I would like to do is now is, so that was very much high level. I want to quickly guide you through a typical WhatsApp experience, and also talk a little bit about how the tracking side of things work. And so every conversation starts with a user that is sending a message to you as a brand. And so Enis already mentioned, there are so many ways to actually drive traffic into WhatsApp. So whether it's an ad, whether it's out of home, whether it's TV, whether it's your website, whether it's in store, you name it. So there are so many ways to drive traffic into WhatsApp. And you obviously want to understand where these users are coming from. Yeah. So once the first message is sent by a user, our system is actually capable of understanding from which traffic sources users are actually coming. And so what we do is actually we show you every single entry point that a user is starting a conversation from. And so there are different categories. So the obvious ones are the ads. So if someone is coming from a click to WhatsApp, then we clearly attribute that. That is this little nice meta sign. If a user is coming from we call it own channel, then we have just this little error. If a user is coming from a click from a marketing message, then there's a little WhatsApp sign. And of course, you want to understand how these sources actually perform. Yeah? So what you can do in the platform is actually selecting specific sources where users are coming from. And then in the end, you really understand what's the cost per lead. Yeah? So this one is very easy because connecting our platform with the ads manager grants us access to your ads data, including the ads budgets. And then our system is automatically actually calculating what's the cost per lead on your specific ad sets. And you can benchmark and understand where it's worth actually investing more money. So when we look at the mid-funnel side of things, then in this particular case, you want to actually increase your deposit. Or you want to leave a deposit. So you can decide actually with the capabilities of the WhatsApp Business API by a simple button click what you want to choose. So it's very intuitive, very efficient for the user. Then we actually have that point of transaction. At the moment, unfortunately, there is no real payment capability in the EMEA region. That looks slightly different. So in regions like India, Singapore, and Brazil, we actually have real native payment experiences already. So when we look at actually regions outside the three I just mentioned, then we would work with web views within WhatsApp, and but still they are trackable. Yeah, so we have the payment experience or the checkout, and then what you always should do is actually have a follow-on conversation within WhatsApp. So for instance, having the digital receipt, and then continue the conversation with the user. Nevertheless, it's super important to mention that though the transaction might happen outside WhatsApp, that with our tracking solution, we make sure that we also get the transactional data, yeah, so that we can in the end show you on a source base, yeah, what's the actual revenue and what's your loss, yeah? And this is in the end what you guys are looking for to understand not just what's the cost per lead, but in the end also what's what do I earn, yeah, what's the actual outcome of my investment into a specific source, whether it's an ad or it's a marketing message, so batch notification. So in the end, you want to understand your ROAS, and our platform makes sure that you get to know this and make your ongoing decisions based on this. Yeah, in the end, we are well known for being highly efficient. So we help partners like Convrs to be super quick. We are the largest WhatsApp partner in the world. So we know what we do. And in the end, we believe only if we crack the data side together, then we will actually gain the main power of WhatsApp. And yeah, hopefully this was insightful. And handing over back to Enis.
Thank you, Gerrit. That was really insightful. It's always great to see what you guys are working on, so thank you for that. So it's 9:08 a.m. for me in Eastern Standard. So we've got about kind of 20 or so minutes left. So at this point, I'd love to be able to open up for Q&As. If there's any Q&As, questions that you may want answered. We've answered a couple already. There was one question there regarding best countries for campaigns. Now, we're seeing campaigns being used globally. So I think I wouldn't say specifically in terms of bulk messaging campaigns. I'm saying if we look at the use case for WhatsApp in terms of which regions, we know, Gerrit, that kind of we see this from Meta, India, Brazil, leading countries where they're testing anything. What you mentioned there, Middle East is basically growing for you guys. You're seeing a lot there. Europe, I know we see a lot. We don't see as much. I live in New York, so I don't really see WhatsApp as much in the US because we're still very much SMS focused. But it's really kind of, there's no rich data in there, there's no rich media and so forth. So what other countries, regions would you say so? Europe, Middle East, North Africa?
Yeah, Middle East is pretty strong. South Africa is pretty strong. There are a couple of priority markets Meta made up this year. So Malaysia is a market.
Okay.
Meta is investing. Indonesia is a market with
Yeah.
150 million WhatsApp users, and so these are
It's growing. It's growing in those regions
growing
as well.
super fast. Yeah, and
yeah, like we're seeing that as well because like there are other localized channels for those Southeast Asian kind of countries, but we are seeing more and more of our customers are now trying to engage via WhatsApp because it then becomes this kind of, they can start building flows and onboarding journeys within one app and really kind of start honing in and focusing on that particular channel, which I think is great. There's another question there regarding Metabase. I think we can get back to that afterwards. Do you
There's a
think the read
question
rate?
here.
Which one's that,
uh,
Mika? Please come on.
It says here, what are the limitations for bulk messaging, and can it lead to account suspension in some cases?
Good question. We see this question a lot, and I think I'll give my 2 cents, Gerrit, and then you can kind of add whatever I've missed here. a lot of the FX brokers that we knew of initially were trying to engage via WhatsApp on a device, okay, using the WhatsApp personal apps or business apps. Those apps specifically were kind of limited at around 256 or so kind of people that you could send to, okay? That's very, very different. When the business model changed for Meta, it was all about wanting to encourage businesses to have conversations because Meta is charging per conversation. I call it an SMS killer because you're going to pay one price for as many messages in a 24-hour window. So I think it kind of killed SMS in certain regions because it's so much more cost effective. So the Meta business model now is encouraging business to engage as much as possible. Then you put in the marketing and the sales template category. So they are encouraging you to use it for sales and marketing. The one caveat is they don't want you talking about crypto. So FX is allowed. Okay, we have around 50 different brokers using the Meta API with us, with Convrs and 360. FX is allowed. Certain messages kind of to do with sales and marketing also allowed. Really kind of what you look at is more so, are you sending this message, okay, regarding an account opening, kind of lower costs or so forth? Does the message look spammy? Now, we've done a lot of educational videos to try and help businesses not to make their businesses look spammy, okay? Alternatively, has someone turned up and said, hey, I've got a list of 1,000 telephone numbers of people that have traded FX before. Can we mass message them if someone turns up at a brokerage firm? What we always say is don't do it. Why? Because really, once you're getting verified by Meta that you said, this is us as a company, this is who we are, you've verified yourself, that basically the reputation you have goes for Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Threads. You've got 5 assets out there, the main social channels at which your reputation's riding. So you won't specifically start seeing the account or the number being blocked, but if you send a message, a template message, and when people receive that message, they're automatically hitting block or report. Maybe the message looks spammy. Maybe they had never heard of your brand before. Then yes, what will happen is that initially that template will get suspended. And you're getting really a heads up. They're saying, hey guys, that message template you're sending is getting a really poor response rate. We've stopped it. Meta stopped it. Please rethink about the next message. But if you're like a repeat offender, you're then sending it to another 1,000 people that have never heard of your brand, and you've done another spammy message, then eventually they may suspend the number. It's very, very different to being on a phone. On a phone, you don't have any way to sit there and really go back and ask for a review, to sit there and argue your case and give your case as to why that message should be applicable or not, okay? So it's very, very different to messages on the phone. It's down to the quality of your messaging. It's down to who you're sending that message to, because moving from the app on a phone to the API still doesn't remove the fact of when someone receives that message, do they block or report or add you as a contact to their list of contacts? Hopefully that's answered the question. Gerrit, have I missed anything there?
No, I would just look at it a little bit more holistic and just want to highlight that the opt-in, the consent management is just super crucial on WhatsApp. And as you said something earlier that, I mean, it's a family and friends channel. Yeah, so it's a highly trusted channel. And so it's a very strong trust signal if a user is engaging with the brand on this private channel. And I mean, we have clients that distribute a couple of million messages, marketing messages a month, and but they do not get templates blocked, yeah, because they do proper opt-in management, so they explicitly do A, expectation management, and B, ask the user whether they want to receive on a specific use case marketing messages from that channel. And if you follow that guideline, then it's very likely that the users appreciate your marketing messages, and you see these great KPIs shared in the presentation earlier.
Thank you, Gerrit. Any other questions now?
There's one here. It says, do you think the red rate is the same as the open rate for WhatsApp?
Depends what the open rate is. If we're looking at the open rate being the click-through rate, I'd say they differ. Gerrit, what's your view on that?
So open rate is the rate that is measured when a user is actually clicking on the WhatsApp message and is landing in WhatsApp. So this is what we call open rate.
Okay.
You would call it click-through rate, yeah. And then of course we have something like engagement rate, conversion rate, which follows once the user lands in WhatsApp. Yeah.
Right. Okay, last few questions here.
Here's another one from a while ago. It says here, we use Metabase for data analysis. I see the meta sign in lots of places here. Does this mean we can feed the data straight into the Metabase?
Yes, through Conversion API.
Okay.
I think there's another one here that both can answer. It says here, do you have your own data to send mass WhatsApp campaigns to, or are we required to share ours?
We're a facilitator, so we're really kind of the UI. 360 is the connectivity. So we don't have data ourselves, okay? We're simply providing you a UI to engage, whether one-on-one, sales, customer service, or mass messaging. So whether it's through doing a campaign where you can bulk upload contact details of people that have opted in to be contacted, or whether using automation, okay? So it's down as an anonymous attendee, so I can't reference who you are. If you have more than 10,000 members, again, as we mentioned, we have a lot of brokers now that have done very well in terms of Meta will give you a health rating based on what are the engagement rates on one-to-one mass messaging template responses. If you have a high health rating from Meta, they will actually take you from 1,000 kind of conversations in a 24-hour window to 10,000, all the way up to 100,000. So the person asking, saying you have 10,000, you have to work your way up to 10,000 from 1,000 if you have a Facebook verified business account. And then potentially if you're playing within kind of Meta's rules and you're getting good engagement rates, yes, you can actually engage more than 10,000 people in a 24-hour period.
I think we have two more over here, Enis. It says here, what is required from our side to set up WhatsApp lead generation, ads that click to WhatsApp?
Okay, great question. You'll actually find this now in the Meta Ads Manager, that you will have click to message. I've been looking at it last week because just wanting to understand better. I'm not a marketeer. I like to know, but I think the marketers are far more sophisticated and intelligent than I am. So I've been delving into it, and you do now see that you have the option to do meta advertising that will be click to message. What I found interesting was that you can select click to WhatsApp, and if Meta sees that the end user who's clicked on the ad is not a WhatsApp user, it actually has the ability to say this person's actually using Messenger, and it will actually enable them to go into other channels. But the other thing that we're kind of seeing, I personally watch on Instagram, you can actually follow the Facebook Meta channel, which is really Mark Zuckerberg's way of announcing very quickly new functionality. And I will see there in a month's period at least 2 to 3 announcements per month about WhatsApp. And what we're generally seeing, and what I've been reading is that even though they have Messenger, they have Instagram kind of direct messaging, okay, and you have Threads, they're really, as a company, you can see by the amount of investment into WhatsApp that they're saying even if someone is in Instagram, WhatsApp should be the channel to engage with. And I did a LinkedIn post a few weeks back where I live in the US, Volvo USA basically had a really nice creative on Instagram, an advert, and very explicitly and clearly said, click to speak to us in WhatsApp. So they had this advert specifically running on Instagram that would then launch into WhatsApp. So that is part of the functionality of meta advertising. Okay. Outside of that, so for display advertising, Gerrit, I know we've in the past used it where you can actually take your WhatsApp number, make that a URL, and actually encode that first message as well. So you could theoretically have a display advert that, as far as I'm aware, could click and then launch a WhatsApp flow conversation. Is that correct?
That is possible as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
So there's various ways.
Everything has one thing in common. Before you start your ads campaign, you need to set up a WhatsApp account. Yeah. And then you will see once the WhatsApp account is set up and you go into your ads manager that the number you've set up is selectable.
Yeah, and we just make it clear, because a lot of the times we've spoken to kind of companies and they've really struggled setting up that WhatsApp account. This is why Convrs, working with 360, we have a specific and designated onboarding team that will talk you through. We have a knowledge base, we have videos as such, but what we actually prefer to do, we'll actually prefer to set up a time where we will actually be on a call with the relevant parties and actually get the number chosen, that you have a choice in what your number could be. Is it going to be a landline, voice over IP, a mobile number? So we'll tell you beforehand, decide on your number, and we'll actually talk through with the partner about getting them set up with the official WhatsApp API. Okay, so we help with that onboarding process, because sometimes it can be quite daunting, and this is really where we come in. Okay. So yes, there should be a recording of the webinar. We've got another question here about licensing and authority to send messages. Is there a license can we send messages to users from other countries? Is there any specific license we need in order to do this? Gerrit, you're in Dubai at the moment. There's a question there regarding, do companies in the UAE need any kind of permissioning to message outside of the UAE? We haven't heard of such. No. That's the answer is no to that question. Okay, are there any considerations when using WhatsApp for lead gen, for example, QR? So someone's asked there regarding this 24-hour window. I think this is important to understand. There is a 24-hour window with WhatsApp, okay? So you theoretically can respond to someone coming in. The 24-hour window really goes from whether it's the last inbound message or your outbound message to a specific kind of user, let's say, and recipient of that WhatsApp message. WhatsApp does not want their channel to become a spam channel, okay? So they want to sit there and kind of monitor. They're going to do this based on templates that are being used. They'll look at it, and initially your templates may take a few hours, even up to 24 hours for approval. Once approved, we're now seeing immediate approvals. And it kind of, from what I've read and from what I understand, is once the meta starts seeing that they've approved your initial messages, you're sending those out, you're not getting people blocking or reporting your messages, you will have this near enough instant real-time approval of messages. The 24-hour window will still be applicable. After a 24-hour window, in terms of someone has not replied to you, after that 24-hour window from their last response, you then have to send another template message. So if someone has not responded to you, you cannot carry on messaging them, sending campaigns, either one-on-one, automated, or so. You do need to sit there and basically send another template message. But that, to clarify, once the person responds to a template message, it's free form. You are only sending that template message as your initial proactive outreach, whether one-to-one, whether a campaign. If someone messages you first, your immediate reply back is free form, no template message. That's always an area of confusion, okay? And we find that we've got brokers that could have 50 different types of template messages. And we will say to them, how would you have otherwise responded to someone if you didn't have to use a template? And they'll say, well, we would have said this message. This is how we would have worded it. So we just say, create a template with that wording, okay? But the 24-hour window, just to confirm, is from the last time they respond, okay? Regarding APIs, we integrate directly into 360. We, Convrs, are the ones that will basically be logging users, creating the bots, the flows, managing the flows, and so forth. So with us, we have integrations already, but we also have our own kind of proprietary API. So someone's asked about integrations into CRM systems like Microsoft Dynamics. The answer is yes to that, as well as any other platform, in-house or third party, that has an API or can work with an API. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, I think that seems to be the end of the questions. Okay, well, hold on. What's yeah. If there's any further questions, please ask now. We've got 3 minutes left. We'd love to answer any outstanding questions. Okay, it looks like that's all covered. I believe there will be a recording, or we are recording the video. Our team will look to send this out to you guys. I want to say thank you to our marketing team as well as the 360 team. They've done a tremendous job today in organizing this and kind of delivering this. So we will follow up with reaching out to you, to everyone. We have a mixture here today of existing clients. For our existing clients, you do have your account managers, so feel free to reach out to them directly. You have the ability to reach out to myself. Most of you should have my contact details. We would be your first point of call in terms of any questions regarding starting to use the insights functionality of the 360 system. For those that are looking at WhatsApp that may have not already started, you may be chatting to some of our team already. Our team will be reaching out to you guys as well to sit there and say, do you have any further questions? Could we jump on another call? So look forward to really discussing this with everyone that's attended. Thank you so much for your attendance and your time. I'm hoping that everyone's walked away with this with kind of insights as to where are things going in 24 with WhatsApp, with conversational marketing. It's now beyond customer service. It's beyond now sales. We now are able to help you marketeers engage within these channels that have such great opportunities. Okay, so Gerrit, thank you so much for joining me today. And thanks for the rest of the team.
Awesome. Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye.